Do you know how much it costs to make a $100 bill? And did you know that pennies could actually be used as slug repellent? Here are 13 surprising facts about money. Number 13. Americans and debt. If you have $10 in your pocket and no debts, you are wealthier than 25% of Americans. Last year, Credit Suisse released a report revealing just how poor people are, especially in the United States where debt runs rampant. Mostly, it's young people who are deep in debt because they graduate from college with massive student loans. And there's a disturbing trend of buying things people can't afford just to impress other people. As if this weren't nerve-wracking enough, 6 members of the Walton family, who own the Walmart fortune, are wealthier than 30% of Americans today. That means that these 6 people have more money between them than all the money combined of approximately 94.2 million people in the U.S. today. Number 12. Cocaine. 4 out of every 5 bills in circulation are tainted by cocaine. While this is actually true, it doesn't mean that the currency was used to snort lines of coke or disseminated by the cartel. The reason there seems to be cocaine everywhere is because cocaine powder is so fine that it can easily spread from one bill to another when just one contaminated bill is passed through an ATM or counting machine in banks and casinos, for example. The machines themselves often test positive for the drug, so any batches of cash passed through the machine would also be contaminated. But you honestly have nothing to worry about. The average contamination is only about 16 micrograms, which is 16 1/millionths of a gram. Unless you just like telling the story that your dollars came from the dark drug underworld and were owned by a narco, which is way more exciting than my explanation. Number 11. Why green? In 1861, the federal government began issuing paper money to help finance the American Civil War. These new bills became known as greenbacks because the backside was printed in green ink. It was a way to prevent people with cameras from counterfeiting black and white bills. In 1929, it was made official. Bills would be green. Green pigment was readily available in large quantities, and the color was very resistant to chemical and physical changes. People also tend to psychologically identify the color green with the strong and stable credit of the government. Since then, other colors have been added to U.S. currency to make it more difficult to counterfeit. Number 10. Only 8% of the world's currency is actual physical money. Our world is becoming more and more digital by the day. Only 8% of all money around the world is actual physical cash. The rest is digital money that exists only on computers. Money is only a representation of value, so it's easy for money to be nothing but a series of ones and zeros used online or transferred via online accounts. How often have you bought something on Amazon and never actually touched the cash you used in the exchange? This digital existence of currency makes up the vast majority of all money around the world today. Number 9. North Korea counterfeit. North Korea was the largest counterfeiter of U.S. currency and maybe still is. They began counterfeiting U.S. money in the late 1970s and went on undetected for a decade until a bank teller in Manila noticed something odd about a $100 bill. Officials were shocked to discover that North Korea had mastered the art of counterfeiting the dollar, specializing in creating perfect replicas of $50 and $100 bills. They were so perfect that it wasn't until 1998 that South Korean intelligence confirmed that it was North Korea making the remarkable lookalikes. The level of perfection caused these fakes to be called super dollars and are often only able to be detected with specialized equipment found at the Federal Reserve. A series of arrests, crackdowns, and sanctions seemed to stop the flow of superdollars in the early 2000s. Today, only 3 cases have been reported since 2008. Some experts now believe that North Korea has stopped making them, but there seems to still be some suspicious activity coming out of Room 39, the secretive North Korean party organization that looks for ways to maintain the foreign currency fund and keep Kim Jong-un in power. Number 8. Bacteria. In 2002, researchers at the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio found that 94% of bills they tested were contaminated with bacteria, most of it benign. However, before you breathe a sigh of relief, they found that 7% harbored dangerous pathogens that could cause pneumonia, strep throat, and skin and other infections. Other experiments have found the fecal bacteria E. coli. Ooh. It should also be noted that the flu virus, which can normally survive outside the human body for a period of only 48 hours, can actually live on a dollar bill for over 10 days. Remember that the next time someone sniffling hands you a dollar. Number 7. Slug repellent. Pennies act as a mild repellent for slugs. For those of you that are facing this problem, apparently copper is toxic to slugs and they actually receive electric shocks from touching copper and zinc. Modern pennies are mostly zinc with a thin copper coating. Experiments involving copper and slugs found that the slugs chose to avoid the copper whenever they could. If the slug really wanted to cross the copper barrier, it would. I'm not sure how scientific this is or what would make a slug really want to do something or not, but now you know what to do with all those pennies you find laying around. Number 6. Dancing Liberty Bell. The blue ribbon woven through the new $100 bill contains 650,000 micro lenses that create an illusion of a dancing 3D Liberty Bell. This was done to make duplication difficult, verification easier, and to discourage counterfeiters in general. Another safety measure in the new bill was nano ink in the blue ribbon. Nano ink, owned by the same company that supplies the Federal Reserve with the paper to make our currency, was used with the idea that counterfeiters would have a hard time getting it. Unfortunately, anyone can look up the patent for nano ink and learn how to make it themselves, a flaw that counterfeiter Arthur J. Williams Jr. was happy to point out when asked what he thought about the redesigned bill. Number 5. Why coins have edges. According to the U.S. Mint, there's a reason why coins have edges. When American coins were first made, the quarter, dime, dollar, and half dollar were made partially from precious metals like silver and gold. A special reeded edge was added to the coins to protect them. Before the new edges, people who needed money would file down the sides of coins to try to collect the bits of precious metal inside. The goal was to sell any shavings of gold or silver from inside the coin for a profit. This filing scheme was not only illegal as defacement of American currency, but also negatively affected the value of that coin. The government then thought, what was the point of spending the money to make these coins when people were only going to take them apart? Since the 1960s, no precious metals have been used in the minting of any American coin in circulation, but the edge still remains. It now serves as an aid to the visually impaired to help them distinguish between coins. Number 4. The dollar coin. Speaking of coins, if the U.S. switched from using a paper dollar bill to using a dollar coin, the U.S. could save $5.5 million. The U.S. technically already has a $1 coin. However, when the Sacagawea coin made its debut, people were more interested in saving it as a keepsake rather than spending it. Before Sacagawea, the problem was that it was the same size as a quarter, which made it confusing. In 2005, Congress created a new series of $1 coins, the Presidential Series. They had the face of each president, starting, of course, with George Washington, and so far, coins up to Ulysses S. Grant have been created. Members of Congress reasoned that a frequently changing coin series with educational appeal would make dollar coins more popular. However, the idea has been a flop so far, leading critics to say that the idea should be dropped completely until Congress is willing to get rid of the paper bill entirely rather than trying to appeal to the public first. I don't know, I kind of like collecting the state coins. I'm still missing North Dakota and Louisiana if anyone has an extra. Number 3. The cost of making money. Today, there is some $1.2 trillion in coins and paper money in circulation in the United States. It costs about 5 cents to produce every dollar bill and around 13 cents to make a $100 bill, the highest denomination currently in circulation. The U.S. Mint cut the cost of making the penny by nearly a third over the past 2 years, but the little copper-coated coin still costs more than a cent to produce. A new report shows the cost to produce a penny was 1.7 cents in the 2014 fiscal year. Other coins turn a profit. A dime costs 3.9 cents to make, and a quarter 9 cents. Altogether, the Mint made $289.1 million despite a $90.5 million drag from the penny and nickel. The Mint could save $52.9 million if it simply eliminated the penny. The estimated lifespan of a $1 bill is close to 6 years, while a $100 bill typically lasts 15 years. Number 2. Paper money isn't actually paper. It's true that money doesn't grow on trees, but did you know that trees aren't involved in the money-making process at all? Paper money is actually made from cotton and linen fibers, 75% cotton and 25% linen, but it is still referred to as paper. The Bureau of Engraving and Printing has used paper from the same company, Crane & Company, since 1879. There are now fluorescent security threads, watermarks, and red and blue fibers already embedded in the paper at the time of manufacturing. This special blend, along with the printing process, creates the distinctive look and feel of American currency. And now, number 1. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. Number 1. Super printing. In 2010, the Bureau of Engraving and Printing in the U.S. printed 26 million notes every day. The KBA Simultan Press is capable of printing 8 colors on each side of the paper. It holds up to 20,000 sheets and prints 32 notes per sheet. This press is capable of speeds of up to 10,000 sheets per hour. Prints are made from original handmade engravings. U.S. banknotes are the finest quality engravings being produced in the world and are prized for their unique texture. To become an engraver with the Bureau, there is an intense 10-year apprenticeship program to work in the department. The highest denomination ever printed in the United States is the $100,000 note, which was an interbank and trading note. The largest denomination printed today is the $100 note. Thanks for watching, and click right here for more videos. Until next time, bye!